Hello everybody, I'm Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome along to a brand new Doctor Who YouTube video. As promised, I am back, and today I thought I would do another ranking video, because a couple of days ago I did a video where I ranked all 12 logos of Doctor Who since 1963, and I thought I can't really do a ranking the logos video without ranking the title sequences as well. So today's video is going to be ranking all 19 title sequences of Doctor Who since 1963. So all of the Doctors so far have had one title sequence, except the Third Doctor, who had two, the Fourth Doctor, which had two, the Sixth Doctor, he had two as well, the 10th Doctor had two, the 11th Doctor had two, and the 12th Doctor had two. So if you're watching this in like 2022 or 2023 or any time really beyond 2021, then yes, I'm not including any title sequences further on than the 13th Doctor's first title sequence. So feel free to like this video if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you like my daily Doctor Who content, and feel free to put your ranking, or at least just your favourite, of these title sequences in the comments below. Also, watch to the end of this video to find out what tomorrow's video is going to be about. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So, unfortunately, I had to put something in 19th place, and it's the 7th Doctor's intro. This was used from 1987 to 1989 in the final 3 seasons of Classic Who. In general, it's the only one I'd say is genuinely bad. It was like that with the logo as well, and the logo is one of the factors why it's bad. The music is pretty weird. It sounds like it's being played on a kazoo, and it just sounds a bit weird. You can definitely tell it's from the 80s, but it's like they try and just come up with everything they can to do with the 80s and just mash it into this weird intro. It's so weird. We have the weird sort of painted face of Sylvester McCoy we've got there, the Doctor. I thought that was incredibly weird, especially when it winks. It's just really odd. And we also have this awful CGI TARDIS. I know it was 1987 when they made this, but they could have at least made it a little bit better. We have it spinning in this weird ball in space. It just looks a bit weird, and yeah, it's just pretty meh. Don't really like it that much. So, next up, in 18th place, we have the 4th Doctor's second intro, from 1980 to 1981. This was used in Tom Baker's final season as the Doctor, from the episodes The Leisure Hive to Logopolis, and it's basically the same as the 5th Doctor's intro and the 6th Doctor's first intro, because it's like in space, it's got the exact same theme, and it's got the Doctor's face in space, and we have these weird bits on the side, kind of with the same colour as the Doctor's face, and that works really well. However, the music is a bit more dull. There's not as much in the background. It's just kind of the standard version that we've got. In the 5th Doctor's it becomes more interesting, and in the 6th Doctor's 2 intros it becomes even really more interesting in terms of music. Also, the face they use for the 4th Doctor just isn't very good. It's like they wanted the audience to know he didn't really like being in the Doctor Who anymore, as of season 18. So yes, it doesn't really work that well, and yeah, the music's just a bit more boring than the other 80s intros. Next up, we have Peter Davison's intro from 1982 to 1984. This was used in seasons 19 to 21 of Classic Who, and this was where lots of people say this was kind of the decline of Doctor Who. I don't think it was quite its decline. I still actually really enjoy the Peter Davison era. I think its true decline was during season 24. However, season 25 and 26 were still brilliant. I think lots of the 80s of Doctor Who is underrated. We'll get to that in another video though. Yeah, the music is a little bit more interesting than Tom Baker's intro. It's got some more background stuff, and the bass line is a little bit better, and, you know, it's like pops out more. The face isn't as bad. It still looks pretty creepy though, just kind of staring into the camera. And yes, it's still not as interesting as the later 80s intros, I've got to admit. Even my bottom spot for the intro, which was the 7th Doctor's, was still fairly interesting, but this one it kind of lacks imagination a little bit. However, the music is still a little bit better, but their face is still pretty creepy. Next up, we have the 3rd Doctor's second intro. This was used in 1974, so season 11 of Classic Who, which was Jon Pertwee's final season as the Doctor. And in general, I don't really know why they changed the intro in this last series. It wasn't really needed, and I think they should have just stuck with the intro they'd used for series 7 to 10. In general, it's not as good as the other one, mainly because it just looks a bit weird. Usually we have the Doctor's kind of face in space. This is the one that kind of the second Doctor's intro kind of started that. But I don't know, I think it's just weird, his entire body just going through this time vortex, and CGI isn't the best. I think the use of colour's a bit weird. However, it does introduce us to the idea of the time vortex, which I've got to appreciate, but it just feels like a slightly worse version of the fourth Doctor's intro. However, it's still alright. The third Doctor is one of my favourite Doctors from Classic Who, my favourite actually, and yes, it's still really good, and the episodes that it was used in were brilliant. However, I'm not really factoring those in the ranking. Moving on, we have the Sixth Doctor's first intro from 1985, another one of the 80s intros, and I've not actually seen any of the episodes that this one's using, but it's not that bad. This image is actually from 1986's intro, which I find much better, but yeah, this is still, I think all of the ones in space instead of the time vortex are slightly bland and not really very imaginative. However, this one is still much better because the music is more interesting, it's got more things in the background, and the bass line is a lot more boomy, and it's just better. We also have the Sixth Doctor's face, which doesn't look terrifying. It actually very more colourful as well. It actually captures the this kind of era of the show very well. Although there were some quite dark episodes, it does capture this Doctor's personality very, very well. That's not to say that's a bad thing. He was quite bad in Twin Dilemma, but that's about it. This is a very good intro, and I actually quite enjoy it. However, the best is yet to come. Next up, we have the second Doctor's intro, used in seasons 4 to 6 of Classic Who in 1966 and 1969. There were only 2 intros from the 1960s of Doctor Who, and this is the least favourite in my opinion. It's nothing bad, however, I don't think it lacks the kind of mystery of the first Doctor's intro. I feel like the first Doctor's intro was a huge success with people, so they thought they would add more things in and then make the music a bit crazier. I don't really think it worked. I quite like the music, actually. There was more things in the background and there was more going on. I really liked that. Patrick Troughton's face did look quite creepy, but except when it was fully formed, that looked fine. But still, yes, it's, I think there's too many patterns and things, and it's just a bit too crazy, and even for Doctor Who. And yes, there is a such thing as too crazy for this programme. Next up, we have the 11th Doctor's intro, which was used in Season 7B, so it was only used for a few episodes. I think it was the Snowmen, the Bells of St. John, the Rings of Akhaten, Cold War, Hyde, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, the Crimson Horror, Nightmare in Silver, the Name of the Doctor, the Day of the Doctor, and the Time of the Doctor. So this was only used for 11 episodes of Doctor Who, and I don't know, people didn't really like it that much. I definitely preferred Matt Smith's first intro as the 11th Doctor, and this one, it's still pretty good. I think the whole scene when we're kind of going through all these asteroids and the kind of pink space, I don't really like all that, and there was like too many kind of features and lights and things going on in the first half. I am quite keen on the second half actually, with we've got Matt's face there and we go into this cool red and black time vortex. That actually looks really, really good. The music is actually really good. It's got a lot of background things going on in a good way though. I think it's really, really good actually. So, moving on, we have the 8th Doctor's intro. This was only used in one episode of Doctor Who, and that is the 1996 TV movie. This TV movie, it wasn't very well liked. However, the intro I actually quite enjoy. I've said before, the logo just feels like a bit of a rehash of the 3rd Doctor's logo, and not as good. We've got, like, just some minor adjustments that I think make it not as good. However, I really enjoy the intro. It's got a very nice sort of cinematic feel to it, especially with the music. And the time vortex is a little unimaginative, but I just really like all the music, how it's actually presented with the Doctor Who logo being flipped over. I really enjoy that, and yeah, it's just a very fun intro to watch. And however, it doesn't really suit the style of episode we've got going on. I know how it does have a cinematic feel to it because this was a film, but still, I think it could have been more suited to the 8th Doctor. Still really good though, still really enjoyed it. Next up, we have the 9th Doctor's intro from 2005. This one, it's nothing special. I think, it's just like the 10th Doctor's intro, except it isn't quite as good. Firstly, the graphics weren't the best. I know this was 2005, and, not 2020, not the brilliant CGI we've got today. However, it still feels slightly stuck in the classic era. This was the first intro I saw, so I've got to cut a bit of slack there. It was it was the first intro I ever saw of Doctor Who, especially with Rose, and Yeah, it's still pretty good. I mean, we've got the names flashing, which is what I really like. We hadn't really had that before. Well, we had in the credits, but still. And it kind of ditches the whole face in space thing, which quite surprises me actually. The music, it's just like the 10th Doctor's first intro's music, except it's not quite as good, and it's not as in your face. It's slightly calmer than the 10th Doctor's intro, which is why it's not higher up. Still really good though. Next up, we have the 12th Doctor's main intro from 2014 to 2017. This is one of the intros that actually lasted the longest of Doctor Who. It was in seasons 8, 9, and 10 of Doctor Who, and again, it's really, really good. The music is incredible. I actually recently watched a video of every Doctor Who intro at once, and this is suspiciously similar to it, actually. I think they actually incorporated lots of elements from previous intro music to create this, and it's really, really good. I like that whole second half with the planets, and we've got the clock as well. I think that's a really good representation of how they're moving through time and space. We've also got the 12th Doctor's face at the end, which changes with each season, and yeah, it's really, really good. The visuals are really good, and it kind of suits this era really well, how it's more technology based rather than like aliens based, which is what I really, really like. Next up, we have the 11th Doctor's first intro, which was used from 2010 to 2012, so this was used in Series 5, 6, and 7A. This is really, really good. It's widely regarded as one of the best, especially in New Who, and it's really good. I really like the clouds. I thought that was a really good updated time vortex, and this was the first main intro that was actually created in HD, which is what I really like. We also get this kind of drop towards the end of these blue clouds, and we go down to this like orange fire. We have the really good intro, and we have that DW logo spinning into the TARDIS. It's really, really effective, and I quite like the lightning sort of blasting away the names of the actors in this. I really, really enjoy this intro, and yeah, it's really good. Next up, we have the 6th Doctor's second intro, used in 1986. This was used in season 23 of Classic Who, so Trial of a Time Lord. And the main reason why it's so much higher than his first intro is because of the music. The music is really updated, and it sounds so good. Honestly, I could listen to this music all day. The middle 8 is incredible, because they use completely different instruments for it. Before it sounded like a doo, and now it sounds like a doo. It's quite hard to explain. But yeah, this is really, really good. I like all the colours, and the start, it looks a lot more bright, and it really represents this kind of era of Doctor Who very, very well, and it's really good they managed to create an intro this good in quite a difficult time period of time for this program. So I'm really happy they managed to pull off an intro this good, especially since it seemed they were getting slightly better, which is really, really good. I really enjoyed this. The music was great, all the colours coming off Colin Baker's face, that was really, really good, and yes, it's so good. I really enjoy watching this. Next up, we have the 10th Doctor's intro from his first intro from 2006 to 2007. This is a really, really good intro. It was used from 2006 to 2007, which is in seasons 2 and 3 of New Who. In general, it's really good. We got the intro it's a little bit more up in your face than the 9th Doctor's intro, which I think is quite good. It represents this era of the show very, very well. We also have the names of the characters kind of zooming in and zooming, in towards us. I think that looks really, really good. In general, yeah, it's a really good intro. The music is much better as well. It's got a lot more background things, and it's more kind of in your face, just like the rest of this. The logo's brilliant. It's updated to this kind of fiery design. It looks really, really good, and yeah, it's a really enjoyable intro to watch. Next up, we have Tom Baker's first intro as the 4th Doctor. It is the 1974 to 1979 intro. This was used in seasons 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 of Classic Who, and it's really, really good. This was used during what is commonly known as the Golden Age of Classic Who, from seasons 13 to 15, and it's really good. It suits this era of Doctor Who very well. Tom Baker's face doesn't look scary. He does look slightly sad and solemn, which doesn't really represent the Doctor very well. But yeah, we got this picture was very one of the very early pictures of the 4th Doctor. It looks a lot different to his face in his second intro, which is much, much older. And yes, it's really, really good. We've got the TARDIS, which is what I really like. We've got the new logo. Everything is all new, and I really like the time vortex as well. It being this diamond and then turning into a rectangle. It looks really, really effective. Okay, next up we have the 12th Doctor's second intro. This was only actually used in one Doctor Who episode ever. It was called Before the Flood and was a Series 9 episode from 2015. In the start of this episode, in the cold open, then we've got the 12th Doctor explaining the bootstrap paradox and how he became Beethoven, and then he gets out his electric guitar and starts playing the Doctor Who theme. I really enjoy it just because it suits the 12th Doctor so well. This should have been the permanent intro for the 12th Doctor, from Series 9 onwards anyway, because it's so good. It's the same exact visuals and everything, and I've already explained why I like those, but it's just so good in terms of, you know, just the music, the rock intro. It's so good, and suits the 12th Doctor incredibly well. Next up, we have the 3rd Doctor's first intro, used from 1970 to 1973. This was used in seasons 7 to 10 of Classic Who, and lots of people put this really low down on their lists, especially Council of Geeks, a YouTube channel that does Doctor Who videos, which I really like, and they say it's too colourful, and it doesn't look very nice, it looks very ugly. I disagree quite a bit, actually, Council of Geeks. I know you won't be watching this video, but yes, I disagree quite a bit. I think, yes, they did get a bit excited that they used colour, but I think that's what makes it funny. I don't know if it's trying to be, you know, make a joke or not, like, oh look, we've got colour now, let's use all of it. I think they was just trying to do a joke. I don't think they were actually thinking, oh, let's just make it really colourful for no reason. I think the logo looks brilliant as well, and this is the intro I've seen the most out of Classic Who stories. I have only 7 Classic Who DVDs at the moment, and 5 of them use this intro, so I might be, you know, slightly biased towards this because I've seen it so many times. However, it's really good. I like the kind of fade into Jon Pertwee's face. That looks really effective. In general, it's just a really good intro. I really enjoy it. Next up, we have the very first intro of Doctor Who from 1963 to 1966. This one isn't the proper intro, it's actually a recreation of it. However, this one looks much better. However, it's basically just the same with better graphics. I really like the whole atmosphere of this intro. Obviously, this was the very first one ever shown on TV, An Unearthly Child episode 1 in the 1963, and it's really good. It captures the mystery and intensity of this era of the show so well, especially with the first episode, it's being really mysterious, and it just works so well. We also have the logo, which I'm actually quite fond of. It's not one of my favourites, but I still quite like it, and in general, it's just really good. It's, you know, it's very mysterious and alien, which is what I really like about it. Next up, we have the 13th Doctor's first intro, which was used from 2018 to 2020. This is used in Series 11 and 12 of Doctor Who, and it might be in Series 13, 14 and 15, I'm not too sure. However, I really enjoy this. It reverts back to the kind of mysteriousness, you know, the mystery and alienness of the first Doctor's era, which is what I really like. I also quite like how it's how it's almost symmetrical, but it's not quite symmetrical. We've also got like the kind of liquid sort of feel of this coming off it. It must have been really difficult to render all this actually, and it looks incredibly effective, especially with all the light and the kind of zooming into the title at the end and the font and everything and the logo. It all looks really effective, and I really enjoy looking at it. Next up, in first place, we have the 10th Doctor's second intro, used from 2008 to 2010. This was used in Series 4 of Doctor Who, plus the 10th Doctor specials from 2009, and The End of Time Part 2 in New Year's Day 2010. In general, it's really good. It's the exact same visuals of the other 10th Doctor's intro, which is what I really like. Again, it's more up in your face, and even more this time actually. The TARDIS going through the new time vortex is brilliant. We've got all the names as well, and it's used in HD from the 10th Doctor specials, which is what I really like. And yes, it's just so good. We also have the kind of the more up in your face, you know, kind of really exciting, energetic music that fits what most people think to be the golden age of New Who really well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, everybody. Like I said, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like my videos, and post your rankings down in the comments below. So yes, I hope you enjoyed. Next time. So tomorrow I'm going to be ranking series 1 to 12 of Doctor Who, from worst to best. Your top spot, my top spot, sorry, may not be what you think. I will see you then, and goodbye.